Hey, you're listening to A Chat with Heart. I'm your host, Christina Martin. I'm a singer-songwriter, curious human. I live on a dirt road in rural Nova Scotia with my partner in crime, Dale, and our calico cat, Olivia. This podcast is basically just me chatting with people I admire. I like to ask questions that feed my curiosity, and my guests have all taught me something. They either crack me up or they punch me right in the feels. If you've got questions, comments, or a burning desire to join the conversation, please call my Heartbeat hotline, day or night. It's 1-902-669-4769. You can also email me at christinamartinmusic@gmail.com. And if you want to throw a little love my way and help keep this thing going, visit my Patreon page. That's how artists like me get paid. Thanks for showing up. Warning, heartfelt content ahead. If we just talk about it, we could shine a light, we could break a dark day. If we just talk about it, we can cut away, we can make a brighter day. Hi friends, it's Christina and welcome back to A Chat with Heart. First of all, you may have heard I just released my brand new holiday single. It's called Sex, Drugs, and Christmas Time. Yep, you heard it right. It's cheeky, it's fun, and honestly, it is probably the most me holiday song I have ever done. But I didn't do it alone. I mean, I wrote this song with my husband, my best friend, Dale Murray, and I was pleasantly surprised at how he got behind this song and the theme. And I think we both just wanted to have fun and make something fun. The music video is coming out soon, and trust me, it is a whole vibe. Speaking of the holidays, here is the truth. If you don't know this is about me, Christmas used to just suck for me. Not when I was super young. When I was young, it was like the biggest thing in our lives, in my family's lives. Like both my parents totally spoiled us. There was always like the most amazing food for weeks before and after. My mom is an excellent baker and cook, and my grandmother, and when we would all get together with my mom's family most of the time. And I mean, it was just multiple Christmases, too many presents, lots of presents, loved it. We were totally spoiled rotten. Yeah. But as life and family can get complicated, and loss. And I think after my dad died, everything changed. It wasn't the losing of my father, but it was like when my father died, it was the beginning of learning so much about him and myself and what happened in our lives. And then that kind of time of the year, took on a whole new vibe. And my older brother, Stefan, was, struggling and in and out of our lives. And it was just I found it really awkward to navigate the holidays without there being kind of stress or worry about pushing someone away or being hurt by something, triggered. And this went on and on and on for years. Like, so I just wanted to run away and hide and avoid the holiday season. I would spend Christmas with other people's families or by myself happily, but like wasn't into making it a big deal or like required visits and hangouts with family. And I guess when I grew up a bit more, and certainly my relationship with my husband now, I think I just got sick of feeling so overwhelmed by it all. And I was like, something's got to give. Something has to change. I have to change this. I'm probably making other people miserable and uncomfortable, and that's not who I want to be. And I like to have fun. Anyway, so it was a tough time of year, and I honestly kind of white knuckled my way through every holiday season, every holiday for that matter, for a long time. But the good news is things can change. And now I actually look forward to to it. The lights, the decorating, the ritual of putting up things that make your home feel warm and alive. And it's wild how healing can sneak up on you in the smallest traditions, you know? And like I'm asking my mom if she can come decorate with me, if I can help her decorate. Like I never would have done that when I was younger. And, you know, she can make her amazing chicken stew and we can have people over. And yeah, so it's really nice. Anyway, happy holidays, everyone. Check out my single, Sex, Drugs, and Christmas Time. In other big news at home, I say big, but don't mean it. I got a Kindle. Like, I feel like I'm the last person on earth to get a fucking Kindle. I loaded one book on it, and I don't even know what it's called. I don't have my Kindle next to me here. I've been reading it at the speed of a sleepy sloth. And the deal I made myself is no new books until this one is conquered. Like, I'm not allowed to add multiple books, which I've done in the past, and then I don't end up reading them and I pay a lot of money. And anyway, so that's like, does anybody else out there use a Kindle or e-reader? I hate using my phone for most things, and I have enough screen time. So I felt like, you know, it was the right thing to do because I travel a bit and I don't want to lug books around. I spend a lot on books. I can't afford it. Maybe I should trim that back, blah, blah, blah. Is anybody else out there still using a Kindle? Like, it's pretty old school. It's very basic, but I love it. Like, there's no distractions. It's not hard on my eyes. And anyway, that's the new thing I'm into that's old. Story of my life. Okay, on to today's guest. I am so excited to welcome Rebekah Higgs to A Chat with Her podcast. You might know her from her music, Ruby Jean and the Thoughtful Bees, or from her amazing DIY mom empire, where she teaches people how to elevate their home, get creative, and truly make it happen. And she's doing this by just trial and error herself, learning how to do things herself, which is so inspiring. So often I want to do something in my home and I can't afford to hire someone, and I'm just terrified to do it myself. Well, Rebekah is a big inspiration in that department. Now, she is someone who genuinely cares about giving back, whether it's through her work in the church or her time overseas in Africa. She just shows up for herself, her family, and others, and that's what I adore about her. She also has a really special family. I adore her parents and the energy they put out into the world. I've known them for years, and I love how they live and love. Truly admirable, truly inspiring and admirable. Rebekah was also recently part of the absolutely bonkers fun music video shoot for my new holiday single. And what I love most about having her there was how she just instantly lifted the energy in the room. Yeah, like she hyped everyone up. She was incredible on camera and behind the scenes. And she's just fun, full stop. I honestly can't wait to hang out with her again. So settle in. This is a heart-forward, inspiring, and super cozy conversation with my friend, Rebekah Higgs. Welcome to A Chat with Her podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Guess what? I was just, you're welcome. You're welcome. Merry Christmas. I was just rocking out to Ruby Jean and the Thoughtful Bees, and it made me
a blast from the past,
right? But like, I was like, this is so now, like, and
we were always ahead of our time. Come on,
you were. The outfits, the music, the beats, and what a joy it was to not only to see you performing, because you have so many great live videos, which I think that is really unique. A lot of people, it takes a long time to get a good live video, and that you have so many of them.
A lot of them were just in Fredericton, right? At that one venue that we would play at, there was always a DJ that came and he would film and he'd put them on YouTube. And so it is fun to look back at that stuff. I mean, obviously I'm a mom now, so I look at some of those videos and I'm like, oh boy, this is embarrassing.
Oh no. Does Lennon watch them?
I don't know if I think she has seen them before when perhaps she was a little younger. I don't think she's come across them since she's turned 12 and has a totally different embarrassment level for her mother. Does that make sense?
Only for now, possibly, but that's so funny. Well, she'll be like so proud of them eventually, if not now.
By the way, I have the same brand of overcoat that you're wearing.
Yeah. Did you get this? What is it? Let me just grab my mom just bought this for me and I love it.
I go to the sample sale every year and I buy all my clothes at the sample sale either in the fall or in the spring. Yeah. And they carry that brand. And so I picked up a Beatles t-shirt that has like that fabric attached to the sleeves. And I picked up like a long sort of coat with that same denim collar. Yeah. I think they're all a little bit unique and different, but
yes.
What's her name again, the designer?
It's Shannon Passero, designed in Canada. Yes. And I'm just reading the tag now. A movement for social change, inspired design, quality clothing. Yeah, so it's this beautiful, my mom got a different one too, so it's beautiful, like different fabric cuts with denim, sort of outlined with denim and denim pockets, and I love it so much. I just got it.
I feel like a real free-spirited hippie when I put mine on. It's great.
I know, and it's like, I mean, it's perfect for any vibe, but I wanted to believe that, like, oh, this is something someone who lives in an old farmhouse, but still wants to be relevant might wear.
That's also the style.
Yeah. Someone who doesn't do anything with their hair and just lets it dry naturally. That's what phase I'm in right now.
I'm really into the low braid now. I braid my hair and then I just let it loose the next day and see what happens. It's great.
Oh, that is a good idea. I need to start doing that. It was also a treat to see Jason Vautour in the videos, who I've been playing with now for well over a decade. And I mean, don't we all love him?
He's so much fun. And also he loved just the freedom to be himself on stage and to wear costumes and outfits and to let loose. And I think that kind of set a whole path for him creatively in terms of like, whenever I've gone to see shows with him in the band, or, you know, like that 90s mixtape. No, it's not the 90s mixtape. It's what are those Big Shiny Tunes shows? Those really fun Big Shiny Tunes, and he's in the band with them.
Yeah,
he puts on those outfits and he just he lets loose. But what a talented guy, amazing guitarist. You know, when he started with us and Ruby Jean, and he was also kind of slugging it in other jobs to keep going as a musician, I said to him, I was like, Jay, there is no reason you should be doing anything else other than playing music.
Yeah.
You should be teaching guitar. You can be a session player, whatever. And he started teaching guitar like around that time. And I think that he's just full-time musician now, which is wonderful.
Absolutely. He's, and I love working with him in all capacities. But one of my favorite things is to bring him into the studio, because he comes with so many cool ideas and different backgrounds. I mean, he can play anything, and I love that he incorporates, like, when I was starting, it was kind of more folk rock, but still folky. And he would bring like his metal influences in. But I love that. I think, even some of the shows we've done, like, what he was able to do with Ruby Jean and the Thoughtful Bees and carrying that over into what we do and in videos, like it's really fun. I mean, he's just one of the best. And
when we were touring when I was touring heavy in like 2007, 2008, 2009, you know, driving back and forth across Canada with a van full of stinky guys, they would play their metal constantly. That's all they wanted to listen to. Like Jay and Mike Bellier and like Corey, and they would just put on metal and go nuts. And I had to put up with it. I just had to like take it on the chin and listen to metal. I still would not choose to put metal on. It didn't change me at all, like my inner core of how I feel about metal, but I certainly can appreciate the musicality and the complicatedness of the minds that go behind creating that kind of music. So
it looks like a sport. Like, have you ever been to a metal show? I've been to a few,
what have you been
and I also saw that you worked with Jason Levangie on How to Win Friends. No, not How to Win Friends. Sorry, not that one. I was listening to that. I love that song, How to Win Friends and Influence People. But you don't miss me. And I've worked a lot with Jason Levangie. And did that help? I'm wondering if it was the case with you, or if you already kind of had your style going into Ruby Jean and the Thoughtful Bees. Because for me, working with Jason helped me discover how I wanted to look and how I wanted to move even on stage. I don't know. What was your experience like working with?
Well, Jason and I had worked together a few times because he actually, I think he produced the music video Parables, which won my one and only Music Nova Scotia award.
Hey, once a winner, always a winner. Always a winner.
Yeah. I don't know. I think somehow that trophy got broken in a move, and I was devastated because I was like, that's the only award I'm ever going to win. Anyway.
Amazing.
But
wait a minute. Couldn't you glue that back together with your abilities?
It was crystal, and it probably shattered. I think there's still a little stump of it left with just the engraving on it. It was back when they had the Nova Scotia crystal blue and then clear sort of vase.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what it still looks like. So Jason had produced that, and then he did the Ruby Jean music video. I had already been collecting vintage sequins dresses whenever I was traveling and touring with my Rebekah Higgs band, just my solo project. So I had loved just thrifting and stopping all over Canada at every Salvation Army and seeing if they had any sequins dresses. So I had a massive collection of sequin dresses. And then that's why I started to kind of pull them out on stage and at shows, because I wanted to show off this collection of vintage gowns that I had collected. And so when we shot the video, I was able to use those sort of jumpsuits and dresses I had bought. And then I was already kind of wearing the ridiculous oversized granny glasses. And so
again, ahead of your time, seriously.
And then remember the old jam space at the bottom of the Lebanese Center, Rock Garden?
Yeah.
The Rock Garden, yeah. That's where we filmed the video. So we just pushed a bunch of people into their big jam room that they had. And then just, water bottles and spraying water and dancing and having a party because, when I started to do Ruby Jean, it was just me having seen Duchess Says perform, which is actually a metal band. So now that you mentioned it, I do love one metal band.
You do. Yeah.
And wanting that freedom of just to be so wild on stage. And, she was absolutely nuts. She was pouring, beer over herself, frothing at the mouth, crawling on the ground, crowd surfing, really getting into it. And I was like, that looks so fun to me. So I had to create this whole alter ego to give myself permission to do that. And that's kind of where the idea for that kind of band started. But at the time, there was really no electronic live dance bands east of Montreal. Mm-hmm. So we were the first ones in the Halifax region to do that electronic dance band vibe where you have like a DJ and the singer and then, a couple instruments behind it. And I think that year we put out an album, and then the following year they decided to add the electronic dance music category into the East Coast Music Awards because of our band starting it. But by that time we had broken up. We were totally done by that. We just went we just flew too close to the sun and then burned. It was a real Fleetwood Mac drama story. It was fun. It was a very, very, very interesting band breakup, but that's for the book. That's for the memoir down the road.
Yeah, awesome. And you'll come back on. You come back on here. We'll promote that. I can't wait.
In 30 years or so, probably.
Yeah, we have to wait till a few people die. Sorry. Yeah, that's usually the case, right?
When I can get away with telling other people's stories.
I know. It's true. That's so funny. Yeah. Do you ever think that you would do that again on stage? Like, do you think there's a time where you see yourself?
I just always secretly hope that somebody will say, you should do a 20-year album reunion or something like that. And I'll get one more chance to get up on stage and be ridiculous because we're like the album came out in 2009. That's scary that it's not that far from 20 years.
So you've got some time. I'm saying it right now. I think a 20-year reunion, even if it's just one big show, so it's touring.
And I'll have all the drummers that ever played with Ruby Jean can come back and play a couple songs with us.
Exactly. It'll be like a Big Shiny Tunes show at the Marquee, but you'll just rotate. Instead of like the front folks, you'll rotate the drummers. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll be there. I'll host it. I'll host
Perfect.
it, MC it, and yeah, I'm all for it. Well, okay, so I mean, I'm excited about that. So I'm glad that we've established that's going to happen. And the book and the memoir is coming out in 30 years.
Yeah.
But from my little heartbeat listeners, if people who may not know your full story, who is DIY Mom and how did this all begin?
I know. Well, it all started because I got pregnant unexpectedly and had a baby. Woo! So that changed my whole identity.
You did
now
it.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a mom. What am I going to do with the rest of my life? I can't sleep on floors anymore and travel across the country with a little baby.
You could have, but would you really want to? No.
I was over it. I was kind of like, you know what? I think it's time to move on with my life. And thankfully, a little baby came into my life to force me to grow up. So, she turned me into an adult. And I was like, okay, I have to start providing for this little human that I'm now responsible for. And I moved back to Halifax with her. She was a year old when we moved back to Halifax from Toronto. Mm-hmm. And I just was like, what am I going to do with my life? Am I going to open up a vintage thrift store with all my wild collections of coats and gems and sequins jumpsuits? Or am I going to, work in the film industry? I had a little bit of experience with friends. So also Jason Levangie and I worked on a friend of ours feature film, her first feature film. And then when I moved to Toronto, I was doing set decorating and art department for some small films for friends that were in the Canadian Film Institute.
Yeah.
So I had a little experience there. And I had a friend that had slept on my couch for 2 months and he owed me a big favor. So he said, Rebekah, why don't you come and work at AG for the day and be my casting assistant? Oh. So he said, I'll give you $100 to come down and help me out. So I helped him out for the day. At the end of the day, he said, you're the best casting assistant I ever had. Here's $150. And then I met Mike and Sarah Hatchie, who owned Egg Studios. And they said, what do you want to do? And I said, I think I want to be a producer. And they asked me to come back the next day and work on a McDonald's commercial because they found out I could speak French, and I made calls and just was doing casting for a McDonald's commercial. And then I literally was like, you know what? I'm going to just show up here every day until they tell me not to show up. And so I just showed up every day, and there seemed to be something going on that was a panic that they didn't have somebody to do the thing that needed to be done. And so I would do that thing and get paid. And after a couple weeks of doing that, they said, let's just put you on payroll. So all of a sudden I was an associate producer at Egg Films.
Amazing.
And learning all about film production and the agency, the writing of the commercials, the talent, the working with the clients. And it just got me thinking, like, what's the next era of marketing going to be? I could see that, big budget commercials were becoming fewer and fewer. And so just through my own exploration of marketing and talking to the agencies and the clients, I thought branded content would be the next big wave of marketing. So I thought, what would my brand be if I was going to make my own brand? And I was a single mom doing it on my own. I had just renovated the apartment I was living in. I'd always been somebody that was decorating on a budget or coming up with concepts to make, budget-friendly versions of things that I liked or saw and wanted to have a beautiful home and decorate. And so I came up with this idea of DIY Mom and started to film little videos of myself doing DIY projects at home while my daughter was napping. And so the whole idea about DIY Mom was just renovations on a single mom budget. Yep. And I started sharing it on YouTube. Within 6 months of that, I had received a call or a visit from Bell to asked me if I would like to do my own Access TV show called DIY Mom on Bell 5 TV 1. So I said, yes, that's great. I will be the Tim the Toolman Taylor of Canada, please.
Yes.
With my little Access TV home renovation show. So amazing. I started filming that, and I put everything I had back into the renovations and this house that I had bought in Halifax. Just at the right time. I bought a house at the right time. It had been sitting on the market for, well over a year. I got it for $100,000 under asking. And then I put every penny back into, making the house better and filming it. And that's how DIY Mom started. And so that was 2016, I think, around then, 15, 16.
Yep.
Of course, influencer marketing is all the rage now. Everybody knows influencer marketing. But at the time, I, was kind of early to that brand of business, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. So before I ask you a little bit more about branding, your branding and growth, and I would love to pick your brain about, okay, first of all, the in Scandinavia, there's like a day of failure where they celebrate like their failures and take it for, it's an opportunity to learn from those. And so everybody talks about them, which I love asking my guests about like their fails. So was there a DIY big fail that ended up teaching you a lot? Because there's so much success. Like, I mean, it's not anyone who goes to your website, DIY Mom, I think it's .ca. Is that right?
Yep.
DIY.ca.
DIYmom.ca, yeah.
We'll see the success there. It's quite obvious. But what did you learn from like a big failure? Maybe when you were starting out, or maybe more recently, where you're like, oh shit.
Well, I think one of the things that I really wanted to highlight with DIY Mom from the start was that I'm learning as I go. Mm-hmm. And everything I'm doing on the show that I'm filming, it's like I've never done it before. So I might be picking up a power tool and laying tile or hanging something or painting something, and it's a project that I've never done before or something I've never done before. And I welcomed the camera into that journey. So I was never afraid to look ridiculous or stupid on camera or to do something incorrectly. And there's lots of stuff on line, even like actually on my TikTok account, which I barely ever post on. I just never really figured out TikTok. I posted one video of me patching a wall, and everybody told me I did it wrong, and it got so many more views than anything I've ever shared because there were so many people basically telling me that I had done it incorrectly. And in my head, I'm like, if it worked, if I solved the solution for myself and I kind of figured it out without being a pro or knowing how to do it, is it really that wrong? I'm sure there's a way to do it better, but I also totally believe in just getting the job done. Yeah. And sometimes good enough is okay instead of like trying to be perfect all the time. So yeah, I think that quest for just leaving behind perfection and just getting it done was my biggest lesson, and also probably strength in my ability to just get a project done and move on to the next one. Because I wasn't lingering too hard on if I was doing everything perfect or properly. Right. Of course, over the years of doing this, like I'm on to my fourth like major home project. I'm getting better at doing things properly. And it does save time, and and in some ways it does save money as well. So I think of every little thing that I do along the way as my own free education, or it's like not free. I'm paying for my education because sometimes it costs me to do it incorrectly, and so I'm learning. But as long as I'm learning and doing it better next time, then that was I added value to my life somehow. Yeah, does that make sense?
Oh, completely. So there's a lot of advice online about how to grow a brand, how to grow a business, but it sounds like you've learned through trusting yourself, admitting, hey, I've not done this before. I'm letting go of perfection. Are there sometimes things you're learning from online, tips and tricks and videos too about being a creative entrepreneur and a content creator? Or are you literally just like kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks and trying stuff out?
Well,
Do you like
I like to learn. I'm very curious and I'm interested in things. So often I will open that email that's like tips on how to increase your engagement and like read about it or do I think when I first started Instagram, I did a couple of online sort of lessons that they offered you to take, like, and even I'd like to understand like SEO trafficking better, but I think that I do have a good handle on the hashtags and what is working on social media, but you have to keep up with it because it's constantly changing. So I don't always do a great job of like maybe keeping up with the trends, but I do try to do things that I think will make the content more engaging, or it's like trial and error, even looking back at my old posts and things that performed well, and just sometimes just resharing the things that have done well.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing people's Instagram feeds that have millions of followers that are home interior designers or like in the same space as me, and they were reposting a lot of the same things over and over again, and thinking to myself like, I would never allow myself to do that because I always feel like I have to be original, like I have to put out something fresh, like I have to do a new project. But then things were kind of getting missed that I was doing. I was like, nobody's appreciating that beautiful project that I did. It's because I didn't repost it enough times. And so just kind of realizing it's okay to repost and to use your content. And then like going through my phone and finding all the things I've filmed over the years and then like making a new video out of it, putting it out. Stuff like that I found has been very useful in terms of like educating myself in the social media realm.
And are you a fan of posting less, or like is less more for you? Or are you like, no, I got to post something every day? Like, do you have like a posting schedule that, or if you kind of let go of that and be like, you know what, I'm just going to do when I feel like it?
I always think like I should be posting more often, like I should be posting every day, but I think it probably averages out to like 3 times a week probably. I would do stories all the time, or more on the regular. I will post stories because I just like to keep up with my life, and there's certain things that I would share in my stories that I don't necessarily put on my feed because maybe it's just not relevant enough to DIY mom content. Maybe it's more like lifestyle stuff. So I'll just share that in my stories. So I'm pretty active that way. Instagram is the one social media app that I am pretty consistent and engaged with. The other ones I just sort of forget about, and I'll be like, oh, shoot, I should put that on my TikTok.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So you've done a lot of collaborations with other brands. I guess we would call that cross collab. Yeah. No, what is it? Cross promotion? Cross promotion? What's the term?
Like content collaborations or branded content for brands. Yeah, that kind of thing.
And what is it like? What are you looking for that the ones that you want to align with? Like, what are some of the things that you that help you decide, yes, I'm going to do this? Like, are you researching whether they're like investing money in warfare, or is it just like, oh, well, it looked like it aligns with my brand in terms of like style, and you don't go maybe necessarily much deeper into that, just feels good? Do you trust your gut? Like, what is it? Is it about the people, the relationships? What is it that helps you decide who you're going to partner with?
Usually it's like, how much are they paying me?
Oh, you know what? Keep it simple.
If they respect the fact that I'm creating content, that I'm the media buy, that I'm the talent, that I'm the producer, that I'm the script writer, that I'm the filmer, that I'm the editor, all of those roles that I'm playing to make you a marketing video. Do you respect my labor, or are you trying to stinge out on paying me? If somebody offers me a free product in exchange for content, those are the ones that I'm definitely a little bit more particular about, because I'm like, if I don't need this thing, I'm not going to just film a video for free. You either have to pay me to work for you, which I'm happy to be a be a content creator and video producer, and basically make music videos for brands, if that's what they want to pay me to do, because I have to make money as an artist as well. I have to support my household and my child. But yeah, like anything I take on that's free or unpaid, it would just be based on either this is a product that I love and I want people to use, or a restaurant that I really love to go to, or an honest review of a product, or like something that we need in the house that serves a need for my house. But I don't, other people are really good about looking into the ethics behind brands. And unless there's like a huge red flag, I probably, I'm not as on top of it as one should be. But I definitely, like, whenever I get asked to do paid content that is about gambling or stuff like that, I don't tend to typically do. I'm like, I don't support gambling.
Not a gambler?
And I was no, not really. I don't want to promote gambling because I don't want to be responsible for somebody losing a bunch of money.
Losing everything? It could just take a second. No, I'm with you on the gambling side. I mean, hey, if you can do it responsibly, good for you. I refuse to even try gambling or anything.
Yeah. I my boyfriend will buy a Lotto 649 ticket every once in a while. I think it's hilarious
that's cute.
Like, he has this thing where he likes to buy a lotto ticket. He bought the 50-50 ticket for the Blue Jays.
Did he win?
It was up to $25 million. No, he's very disappointed he didn't win.
I guess I would have heard.
But
well, maybe not. Maybe that's not something you want to promote if you win. Like,
no. Yeah, I guess. But I did promote like the QE2 home lottery because that's for the hospital.
Yes. Ooh, particular lotteries. That's a good point. Yeah. There are some good lotteries out there. Fundraisers. I agree.
Yeah.
I do appreciate, isn't there like in Nova Scotia, like if you do gamble, isn't there a law? I don't know if it's a law, but like there's some of that money actually goes back into the arts. There's some, listen, I don't have a fact checker, but, and I don't know if I'm promoting Casino Nova Scotia without knowing it here, but I think that there's some, and hey, if it's going to ruin people's lives, then at least it's some of the money's going back into the arts.
Yeah, the casino's got to put on some shows, right?
Yeah, and then and then
maybe
the artists
go specifically into that budget.
And then the artists make those people's lives better when they're going through recovery. So there we go.
Yeah,
it's a full circle moment. Oh my God. Hey, I was reading your blog on overcoming parent burnout. Now, I'm not a parent, but I know about burnout. And I love what you said about while burnout is real, it's not a permanent state. And I think some people do get stuck in that state. But I've always seen it, as I feel you do too, this is an opportunity to make a change. And I guess I wanted to chat with you to hear about, like, now, today, like, what are some of the things, like, do you still get into burnout, or do you feel, because I feel like I'm getting better at not getting into burnout. Do you know what I mean? So tell me a little bit about where you are today with burnout or preventing burnout. Are you a preventative burnout person now? Like,
well, I heard somebody say on Instagram, it's always like Instagram or a podcast that I listen to, and I'm like, I heard this, that if you're doing something that you hate over and over and over and over again, you get burnout. But if you do something you love, you tend to get excited and energized by it. I'm not saying that I hate being a mom. I'm just saying sometimes when the emotional load is fully on you, it does get a little overwhelming. And I was feeling, COVID really switched changed the game of parenting in a way, because we all had to be home with our kids and doing online schooling with them, which was very, very challenging to do while also trying to film a show or work or edit a TV show. And be a single mom. And then also I find to get my child to be involved in any activities, I would have to volunteer or be a part of it. I'm going on school trips. I'm coaching the basketball team. And then I'm, we're doing the grocery shopping, feeding my child, taking care of the household, the laundry, the dog. and it just was becoming impossible for me to get any joy or excitement out of just enjoying my child and being a mom. And so I had to unload some of those tasks that I felt that other people could do just as well as me, like laundry, grocery shopping, running around and doing some of the errands, tidying up or managing the household. And even though it feels like a very privileged thing to be able to hire somebody to do those things for you, I found that I was able to make the money back easier because I had more time to be creative or to reach out to those brands or to do the collaborations or to work on things that would bring in income for our family instead of just tackling those like everyday chores. So I ended up my career basically went on a total upward trajectory because of this offloading of some of the things that were burning me out. And it started very simply with me. I just had a babysitter that she was like $10 an hour. She was 15 and she was, one time I came home and she was watching YouTube videos about how to declutter and organize your house while folding my laundry. And I was like, Melissa, do you like decluttering? She's in organizing. She's like, yes, I love it. I was like, do you want to come sometime when Lennon's not here and help me with the house? And she's like, yes. So she, like literally she just started to do, $10 an hour organizing, tidying the house. And then I found out she was really good with like organizing my receipts, and she got her driver's license right away, and she could like pick up Lennon. So I just took advantage of the kids and the young adults in my life that needed work, and also a mentor, somebody in their life that they could kind of look up to, and giving them a little bit of extra responsibility and seeing what they were capable of, and then giving them more responsibility as they were developing and becoming more mature. So I did that at first, and then it just kind of went from there. I would hire sort of younger girls that were starting out in their career that needed a bit of a mentor, maybe hadn't done any of the things that I needed them to do, but I was willing to teach them, and just started to delegate. And that like was a real game changer for me.
Love it. I love it. That was me. You hired me when I was young. I used to love, I was a nanny, but then I would like tell the people I work for, like, I see you're struggling with, like, I can do this. I love organizing and I love domestic stuff. And so I would do that for some of the families I live with if they would allow me to go through their, but organizing closets, helping them decide what to ditch, what to donate, organizing paperwork. And I think that was very wise of you.
You're like a little Marie Kondo, just like the life-changing magic of tidying up. I read that book, I think, when Lennon was like 1 or 2, and then I gave it to the babysitter to read. And then I just was like, perfect. Marie Kondo all of our drawers. And she did. It was great.
Amazing. Oh, honestly, I've joked about it, but of course it's not what I really want to do, but just daydreamed about starting an organizational business. And you know what? I probably should, because it really does give me energy to organize. Anytime I take a break from sitting at my desk working on things, I'm like, oh God, I really want to organize that closet or just that bookshelf back there. And, but yeah, anyway, I haven't made the leap yet, so I'm still.
It's great. It's so helpful, especially when you're a creative mind that jumps all over the place and gets distracted easily. When you have an well-organized house, you're just able to be so much more productive.
I completely agree. Hey, what's something you wish people knew about the behind-the-scenes reality of DIY mom? Because it does look like you do make it look a lot of the times like really professional and like you're very well spoken. The editing of your show is just awesome and beautiful. And I know what that takes. I know what that takes. But yeah, you tell me you tell us, my little heartbeat listeners, what are some things you'd like people to know that they may not know?
I find it quite difficult to actually be funny on Instagram. Like, I wish that I could. I feel like my friends and Chad and the people that are close to me know that I'm funny, but I don't always know that that the internet or like the TV show understood that I just don't take myself that seriously, and I'm just having a good time. And so I think, I remember like after having a baby and being the first one in my friend group to have a baby and not being able to like go out and party and do all the things that I used to do with my friends, being like, I just want people to know that I'm still fun.
I like to party. Do you want people to invite you to the party? Do you want people to invite you?
I want to be invited to the parties. I'll go home by 10, but I'll be there from 9 to 10, being a great time.
Hey, what's a perfect day like for Rebekah Higgs?
Um,
Dream day.
I love taking the dog for a nice long walk in the park. And I also, I used to love playing pickleball before I ruptured my Achilles.
Oh, but did you do that playing pickleball?
Yes. In June, I ruptured my Achilles playing pickleball.
That's
so I'm still on my recovery.
I didn't know it was so dangerous.
When you're over 40, I guess it is.
You know what? Dale and I went and played tennis for like 3 minutes one time, and his shoulder was ruined and his knee for like a year and a half. So I guess I understand, but that's a shame. I really hope that you recover and can play pickleball.
And then I also love like a little lounge day by the pool in the sun on I guess a day off is my perfect day. Yeah. I love a patio drink in the sun. I like to go eat some interesting food or try a new restaurant or even like a chef tasting meal, that kind of stuff. When we were traveling, we do a lot of just biking around, looking at architecture, going to museums, studying the culture and like understanding the community and then trying the food. So yeah, that's kind of a perfect day for me.
Yeah, you just got back from Berlin. Did you take my advice and go to the Spy Museum?
I don't think we went to the Spy Museum. I totally forgot about that. We went to the Jewish Museum, the memorial to the murdered Jews. We went to the topography of horror. Is that what it's called? And like lots of Berlin Wall stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So you went all out European history.
Yeah, it was pretty dark. By the time 8 days in Berlin were over, I was like, let's just get back to Nova Scotia, where surprisingly I can say the sun is shining.
Yes, I know. I get it. Well, there's lots in Berlin. Next time. And then there's the Museum of Disgusting Things to Eat.
Oh, yeah, that was the other one you mentioned.
So
didn't get to that one either. They must have not been in the neighborhoods we were hanging out in.
I've been to some of the other. I did see some in some of your Facebook videos. Some of the places you were walking through, the memorial, the Holocaust Memorial, and I've been to some of those too. But I like to mix it up because it can get pretty heavy. It's important.
It was heavy. It was definitely heavy.
Yeah.
Berlin, they don't hide their history. They have it right out there. So,
yeah.
I was fascinated though. I think I was most fascinated by the reunification of like, how do you bring the two sides of the wall back together? That was fascinating to me because when we were kids, we had gone to the former Soviet Union. We were in Ukraine and Belarus. And I understood a little bit of that communist ideology, that perspective, and how hard it was to even get those cultures to become, I guess, more westernized in their thinking, like looking out for other people, giving back to society, doing, working based on like putting effort in instead of just having like a government paid job so having like an identity, because the communist side of the wall was very much, it's all apartments. It's like very concrete. It's very, felt a little bit like bleak and less color. It was almost like this individuality was against, that Marxist thinking. And so the Western side was very colorful and, interesting buildings and lots of graffiti. And then like the other side of the wall is just completely stark and perfect and, no expression.
Right. And you still see some of that.
Bringing those two sides back together.
Yeah. You still see some of that, especially in Poland, where they still have lots of places in Eastern Europe, actually, where the money, really hasn't been there to completely renovate or replace or even, I guess, gentrify. I don't know what they would call it there, but we've played places in Eastern Germany even where, and we talked to the people about it, and because a lot of those people that have come to the shows and are putting on the shows grew up in that time, and people have even said to us, we kind of miss it. Things were a little easier. They're just open about all the reasons why they don't like, the way things are now. Well, it's just harder for them, I suppose. And some people say, well, we all had enough back then. And now it just seems like a struggle for the young people. Now, not that there also were some issues we sensed, we could sense that there were places, the immigration question for a lot of people in Eastern Europe where that wasn't an issue for them at the time, or they claimed it wasn't. And this was a big topic when I was studying European history, and it's still a topic today. And it's so interesting because it's anywhere you go, and even in Canada, we are great because of immigration. We are great. We are rich communities because of immigration over time, and in a lot of ways. And not that there aren't,
I think you notice it too the most with food, because when you eat just like boiled potatoes and beets and vegetables and, very plain foods, and then you have this rich sort of culture that comes in from all these other ethnicities, and that's where you get the spices and the flavors. And so, the best food I ate in Berlin was not the schnitzel, which the schnitzel was great, but I definitely wouldn't want to eat that every day. But it was we went for ramen, we went for curry, we went for sushi. We just tried and that's the same thing about anything that's really interesting about Canada or the States or the food is also, a lot of it is that immigrant culture that came and influenced. So this is welcome to the podcast where Christina and Rebekah get into anthropology and World War II history.
Yeah, this is our political segment too, where we're gonna. Oh well, okay. Well, before I have to let you go, I wanted to ask you if the 2025 DIY box fundraiser in support of Hope for Africa is that still on? Are we still rocking
if
it?
You donate to Hope of Africa and send me a screenshot of your donation, I'll mail you a DIY box. That is still a thing. And my housing, I was able to raise, I've raised about $10,000 for the housing initiative in South Africa. I have 5 applications right now for people that need a roof on their house or some windows or, a mold-free mattress. And our money just goes so far there. Del Silly, one of the women that was very inspiring to me, she's a single mom. She became a mom at 14, was able to rise above it. But she is living in on a dirt floor, single room house with a tin roof that's so hot, like a sauna in this half of the year because their temperatures are so warm. And they have a little fire area where they cook in that's totally separate, and a tented in little place that they use the bathroom and shower, and they have a toilet that's like a Doug toilet. And she has managed to save enough money to buy a piece of land. So that's the place that they rent. She saved enough money to buy the piece of land and start the cinder block building of a home that would house her and her 2 kids and her sister and her 4 kids. So she's responsible for 8 or 9 people under her. And, she's making about $650 Canadian a month. And still she's managed to put money aside for this piece of property and for this house. But she needs about $5,000 Canadian to get windows and a roof and to finish this house, get out of the place that they're renting and actually have a home that is theirs. And so that just inspired me about how far our money can go in South Africa, and wanting to help out these single moms and individuals that are responsible for generational family members to have a better living situation. And so I started the Housing Initiative Fund, and started within my own family of just trying to raise money with our generation, because my parents and their generation are very involved in a farm in South Africa. And so I wanted to take on this housing initiative as a thing that I could do. As a single mom that has had opportunities to help me get out of a difficult place, I feel very, I really want to do something to help other single moms. And so this is a way that I could do something. And after traveling to South Africa, I just was very inspired to want to do something there. And so my offering is that if you donate to that Housing Initiative Fund, I will send you a DIY box. So even if it's as little as $100, you still get a DIY box. And
yay!
That link is in my Instagram bio. So just go click on that if you want to donate.
Okay. Well, when this comes out, and I'll do I'll be doing a couple posts, but I'll share the link also on my stories. It's not hard to find, folks. Get yourself a DIY box.
And you can get a tax write-off too for your donation to Hope of Africa. So, end of year taxes are coming up. You got to give some of that money away. Don't give it to the government, give it to Africa.
Come Undone Records is doing it. Yep, I'm doing it.
Every year I always try to figure out how much more money I can give away. Just like to, and how much I can write off, or how much I can give away. And it's fun to give away more and more money every year.
It's fun. It is fun. I love it. Well, what's next for you creatively, personally, for DIY Mom, or you personally separate from DIY Mom?
We're building a house right now, so that's taking a lot of energy. I have a design intern that's working with me, so we're doing interiors, and I still do take on client work as well. And then yesterday I got to do a little bit of acting for a proof of concept for a feature film. So that would be really fun if I got to be in a feature film. That'd be great.
I would love that. I would love that for you and for all of us.
Bring back the old acting dream that I had when I was in university. I went to theater school, so it's good to.
Oh
to get
my
back
gosh, I'm so jealous. When I was a kid, I can't believe I did this, but I had the choice of going to theater camp or computer programming camp, and guess which I chose?
I'm so surprised that you would pick computer programming.
I know. I'm such an introvert. I was so, now I'm going to brag. I was so good at it. They asked me to come back, but I had the sense to be like, I haven't seen daylight for weeks. Like, cause you were in a basement. I'm sure all the theater kids were upstairs, like going outside and just frolicking in the forest and having fun and on stage and whatever. Anyway, no windows, terrible lighting for 2 weeks. I was like, no.
Did you learn anything about computer programming?
I did at the time, which I forgot entirely. Most of it was literally just, copying text and watching things, little turtles move on stage. But I loved computers. I mean, it's funny. I've had tech jobs over the years. I have actually a bit of a tech job right now, actually, part-time tech job. And so there's a bit of the nerd in me that just loves that. But I'm not like hardcore into programming or engineering or anything like that. No, no.
I'm also surprised to hear that you're an introvert, because you are so good with people. And
thank you.
When you put on your shows, you're up there, you're telling all these stories, and you're really engaging with the audience. So, do you get like a what's it called? Like a vulnerability hangover, as Brene Brown would say after your shows?
Yes, I do. Even after sometimes writing some kinds of songs. I didn't get a hangover after writing Sex, Drugs, and Christmas Time. That was just pure fun. But no, I've definitely had that. I guess I'm an extrovert introvert. I shouldn't say I'm complete introvert, but I need a lot of time alone to recharge and after shows for sure. It's exhausting. But that's me. That's good. Yeah, little bit of a nerd.
You're putting a lot of energy out when you're on stage, and I always struggled with that ability to kind of share the stories and talk when I was a musician. I know how much people love that in Nova Scotia. So
They do.
I'm always so blown away when I see people do it with ease and so it's great to see you live.
It's fun. It's harder I find it's hard to do with a band. I find that it's easier to do if you're just playing solo or duo. You're kind of more in control of the flow, and it's easier to speak to the audience as if they are one being and you're having a one-on-one conversation. That's kind of how I've managed to learn how to do it. But with a band, it's so different because you just kind of want to rock out with the band, and then talking to the audience sometimes too much, it feels like you're interrupting the vibe in the band and the start and stop. And so I've struggled with that. I still am always trying to learn. And some days I'm like, why did I even, why do I even want to be on stage? Like, it's not a natural thing, but you do those things, I think, to get to do the things you love to do more. And I do love people, and I do love, making stuff with people, and I love expressing myself. So I think you do it for all those reasons, and you put up with a little bit of emotional hangover after. But yeah. But this has been a real treat. I have missed you because we've known each other for a long time, and I love your parents too, your family, but we haven't seen each other in a long time, and I'm really glad. What I love about this podcast is it does give me a chance to kind of catch up with people. And then if I'm lucky, I'll get to see you more often.
Yeah.
And now I get to promote what you're doing, which is phenomenal. I love what you've done, what you're doing, what you represent. Your family is so great, and you're good people. You're real good people.
We try, we try.
Yeah. Well, I thank you so much.
I always say to I'm like, Chad, you're a naturally moral, good person. I was like, this is why I need Jesus, is because I just want to get away with shit all the time. If I didn't have a higher power telling me to be a good person,
we all need reminders, right? And no, it's interesting. That's right. And you also are very involved in your church, right?
Yeah, I go to a pretty hippie church in the North End, and I'm involved in the music there, and that's really fun. And it's it's just nice to have a community of people that just want to talk about how can we incorporate Jesus in a healthy way into our life, and also help our society and our neighbors and the people around us who are suffering, and in a way that we often just get bombarded with so much negative, like Christian culture or Christian white nationalist stuff. And that's just not at all what Jesus is about. And so I love going to a church that is just focused on the Gospels and the teaching of Jesus, and community, and loving one another and loving your neighbor. Yeah. And then, we get to sing songs together and have coffee and eat together. And it's nice. It's great to have a community that way.
That is awesome. When I was living in Austin, I lived with a family, and I went to church with them. And I mean, I'm actually an atheist, but I really I would take the kids that I looked after to their Bible studies course, and then I would go in and sit in on the sermons in some of these mega churches. I loved it. I was like, these are great stories, great people, so many people doing good things in their communities. And I worked with so many wonderful people who I would go to work, and they would bring me into their office and tell me all these great stories. And one of the things I remember feeling it was so interesting, because I didn't grow up with this, was like people would say, bless you, bless your heart. Jesus talk. I remember when I was getting married, my vice principal, Mrs. Bledstone, brought me into her office, and she said, I had a dream, and Jesus told me he was looking out for you. And I'm like, how cool is that? Were you
getting married in high school? How old were you?
Oh no, when I worked at a middle school as a tech aide in Austin, Texas. Okay. and religion was it just wasn't growing up. I know friends went to church, but nobody really talked about it. It wasn't sort of in the day to day, because I didn't grow up in a religious family, and quite the opposite. But I was always curious about religion, And my grandfather would take me to the Catholic Church with him, and I would sit and listen and be like just curious about everything. But yeah, it was just nice to see so many people participating in their communities and involved in religion, and to see the positivity around it, which wasn't my experience growing up, because I had a father that was so against any religion. And I was, I already knew that's weird. That's odd. Like there's maybe good and bad to all kinds of organized everything in the world, but there's also a lot of good stuff. And so,
yeah, well, there, and so many people have what I call holy hurt, which is like they've been hurt by their church at some point.
Yeah.
Including me, and I had to go through it, and I went away from any kind of formal sort of religious practice for many years because I had experienced trauma, in my church, and then came back to the sort of a more spiritual understanding, and to all the good that the ideas and the ideologies of Jesus have brought into our culture and our society. Anything that's good about Western society really started with Jesus. Like the Roman Empire before was terrible to children and women and widows and orphans and poverty. They had no care for other people. So this whole idea of like taking care of your neighbors, that women are equal to men, that children are to be loved and nurtured, like all of these things started with Jesus. And so I just wish that people would remember that when they think about the things that are good about Canada and where we live today, that they would recognize that like Jesus was a radical for his time and brought all these amazing, wonderful things into our lives, including feminism.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Way to go, Jesus.
Yeah, that's it. Good job, Jesus.
Yeah, that's the title for this podcast episode. Good job,
Good
Jesus.
job, Jesus.
Rebekah, I know you have to get to an appointment with Lennon, so I'll let you go. But I thank you so much for all of your sharing and caring, and I'm so proud of you, and lots of love to you.
Yes, thanks so much for having me, Christina. It's so great to talk to you, and I definitely hope we get to hang out in Halifax soon.
We will. I will force it upon us.
Perfect.
Okay, bye.
All of my great friendships have always been because I forced them to be my friends.
Yeah,
so.
Right. Exactly. Forced friendship.
Love. I don't want to say goodbye to you. Oh, I don't want to say goodbye to you.
Welcome to the Heartbeat Hotline, 1-902-669-4769. I'm the host of A Chat with Heart podcast, Christina Martin, and I'm so excited you called. Leave me your question, a suggestion for the podcast, or a comment about this episode. Please be aware your message may be used on the podcast and social media. Tell me your name, where you're calling from, and it's also fine if you want to remain anonymous. Thanks for listening. Have a great fucking day. Hey, thanks for listening to A Chat with Heart, produced by me, Christina Martin. Co-produced and engineered by my partner in life and sound, Dale Murray. Dale's not just a wizard with knobs, he's also a killer singer-songwriter, session musician, and music producer. Go snoop around his world at dalemurray.ca. The podcast theme song, Talk About It, and I Don't Want to Say Goodbye to You were written by me and recorded by Dale. Want to support what we do? You can snag CDs, vinyl, digital music, and some weirdly delightful merch like custom puzzles and temporary tattoo packs over on my Bandcamp. If you're into keeping indie art alive or just want good karma, become a monthly or yearly member on my Patreon. It's a platform that helps creators get paid to keep making stuff we love. I swear by it. Sign up, free or paid, at patreon.com/Christina Martin. If this podcast made you laugh, cry, think, or rage text your best friend, do me a solid, share it, rate it, review it, and hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts. And to all my little heartbeat listeners, stay weird, stay tender, and I'll catch you next time.